And welcome to the Factor Uncensored. Thank you for joining us tonight. President Biden marked the 12th anniversary of DACA at the White House today, unrolling a new executive action to protect undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation. Now, the new policy will shield around 500,000 immigrants from being forcibly removed from the country. It would also make it easier for some undocumented immigrants to receive U.S. citizenship and obtain a green card. To qualify, a person must be married to a U.S. citizen and have lived in the U.S. for at least 10 years with no criminal record. My next guest weighed in on the changes. Our guests are here on the Factor Uncensored. We have with us Cesar Espinosa from Fiel and conservative attorney Kevin Fulton. Guys, the Biden administration introduced their new immigration policy today, potentially impacting 500,000 undocumented immigrants here in this country, including those who may be married, undocumented spouses who may be married to Americans. So, Cesar, your thoughts on this plan by the Biden administration? Good idea, bad idea, your thoughts?
Well, we think it's a great idea. Number one is because most Americans support there being a pathway to citizenship or some path to legality for spouses of U.S. Citizens, people who, fell in love with somebody and now are in fear of them getting deported. So this also comes on the heels of one of the most restrictive border policies that was put in place by the Biden administration just a few weeks ago. So, he did that in order to appease some of the more conservative, some of the more folks who are going to be anti-immigrant, and then now he offers this. So we think it's a great idea. A lot of families are going to benefit from it, and at the end of the day, this is a step moving in the right direction.
Well, Cesar, this is a huge about face. Do you think this is truly about immigration or about the election?
I definitely think this is about the election. But at the same time, you have people on the Trump camp not wanting to pass a border bill, not wanting to fix the what's going on our southern border, because they're afraid that that's going to hurt them politically and that's going to hurt them in the election. Because if they lose immigration, they have nothing left to talk about. So at the end of the day, politics is being played on both sides. We would like to see Congress sit down and come up with a good immigration reform. But since they have been unable to do that, we will take it one step at a time.
All right, Kevin Fulton, let's hear from you, your thoughts about this latest decision from the Biden administration.
Well, let me first start by correcting what he said about people, conservatives being anti-immigration. That's not true. They're anti-illegal immigration. The country has laws that have to be followed and for people to legally immigrate into this country. There's no problem with that. It's the illegal immigration and the open borders that's the problem. For this, all this is Biden pandering to his base because he feels like he's in trouble. Last election, Biden overwhelmingly won the Hispanic vote. He won it by about 28% over Trump. The numbers in pollings now show that there's only a 6% gap in Hispanics when it comes to voting between him and President Trump, and so he's panicking. Whether or not it's good policy, we don't know because it's not getting vetted. It is something that's being put out just for the election in order for him to try to change the perception of how he is in the Hispanic community. So to me, it's the policy's not going to matter because it wasn't fully vetted. And the second thing is we've been here before with Obama when he started losing the Hispanic vote in the polls. He came out with DACA programs that were unconstitutional. What Biden has come out with is also unconstitutional, but it doesn't matter at all because he's throwing it out there the same way he threw out the student loan deal before last election. He knows it's unconstitutional, but people are going to think it's a great idea and vote for him anyway, and we're going to be stuck in the same crisis we're in now with open borders, inflation, and crime.
And Kevin, what we're hearing from some Republicans who are criticizing this is that essentially it's mass amnesty.
It is mass amnesty, which is why it's unconstitutional. The president doesn't have the right to create these paths to citizenship. It has to come from Congress. So it's unconstitutional. But again, he knows it's unconstitutional. He's just hoping that I can pander to Hispanics. They won't realize that I don't mean any of this and that they'll just vote for him. but he's going to be surprised. Hispanics are not, this is not their number one concern. Their number one concern is, I can't feed my family. Their number one concern is, I'm not safe in my community, in my household. And those are the types of things that they're concerned about, and he's fixing none of that. So this is his next move.
And Cesar, is that something you're seeing on the ground, that more Hispanics are now leaning towards former President Trump?
We know that for either party to make the assumption that immigration is going to sway our community one way or another is a misnomer. The reason for that is because if there's one thing that I will agree with is the fact that we're a multifaceted community. There's other issues that affects us, but at the end of the day, conservatives cannot have it two ways. They can't continue to have immigrant cheap labor, and at the same time say that they want to seal the border and they don't want to give people any reprieve. That's inhumane. That's not right. And at the end of the day, this is the modern day slavery as we know it.
And Cesar, really quick, do you think the president and the Biden administration, they know that this will face a challenge in the courts down the road and won't likely stand? It will only be here during the attempt to be reelected, during the election time, but it's sure to be challenged in the courts.
We expect that 100%. We know that it could be challenged in the court. There's language in this new executive order that may pass more legal muster, but at the end of the day, we need Congress to act to figure out a good comprehensive system to where it would allow those people who have been here, who have given blood, sweat, and tears to the United States when they most needed it, and allow them a path for them to come out of the shadows and for them to be treated as human beings.